Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. I'm your host, Charli, and today we are joined by Nicole from the Nicole Please podcast. Her podcast is pretty similar to this as far in terms of like girl talk and topics, and we met at a podcasting conference that
hmm
I went to on Saturday, and we it is now Tuesday, and we loved each other's podcast so much that here we are doing a crossover. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
I'm excited to be here.
how was your day today?
You know what? It was a day. I am not gonna complain because what good does that do anyway? So I'm just gonna say I'm glad that the workday is over.
I've had those days for sure. I totally understand. Um, tell everybody a little bit about your podcast. Like your origin story of your podcast was one of the things that really inspired me to reach out to you.
Yes. So my first of all, I always say I've always been a podcast girly. So I've listened to podcasts for a very long time, and I always say I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm gonna start a podcast. And I never did. So I had insomnia one night and I was up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I was sitting at my dining room table and I kept hearing record, it's time to record, it's time to record. So I recorded my first episode. Honestly, it was meant to be kind of therapeutic for me. I did not realize that it was going to have the impact that it had. And so that's it. It's almost like an audio journal or diary for myself that kind of blew up. And now it's like everybody's in my business. So,
That's the best part about a podcast.
yes, but I love it. I honestly love it.
Yes, I do too. I feel similarly because I somewhat started my podcast on a whim as well.
Okay.
I originally started it with a co-host in season one,
hmm
and she had just like put one of those like comment boxes on her Instagram and was like, "Who wants to start a podcast with me?" And I was like, "Me," not thinking she was gonna say yes, and then she said yes. And I was like, "Oh, I guess we have to do this." And then we started it and we had a whole first season together, and I'm really grateful that I had a co-host, like a regular co-host for my
hmm
whole first season, because there was so much that I didn't know about and I had to learn all, and if had I had to learn all that on my own and like
Oh
feel
boy.
comfortable in my own skin, I don't know if I could have done it. So props to you.
It has definitely been a journey. Like I've had my days where I'm like, F this, I don't want to do this anymore. This is stupid. I don't know how to turn my mic on. I don't know why my sound sounds so crappy. And then I'll get, honestly, like that same day, I'll get a message from someone and they'll be like, oh my goodness, I listened to your episode on XYZ and it really helped me. It was exactly what I needed. And I'll be like, all right, well, there's my confirmation again. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's definitely not easy. So I think I would have been a little more, I would have been, may have been a little easier for me had I had a co host starting off as well.
Yeah, I recommend it. If you're out there trying to start a podcast, like if you do it with another person, it makes things so like it makes the learning curve so much
Mhm.
more simple to handle.
So did you guys like, was it all audio or was it audio and visual?
I have just recently stepped into video, and
Me too. It's
it's
scary.
it's scary. Like, I'm used to, like, for the whole, like, podcast, I've just been, like, doodling and, like, fidgeting, and I have a hard time, like, not getting in the habit of not doing those things, and so, like, because people are watching you, and so I'm not used to that, and, we just had the conversation about this earlier, but you gave me a wonderful tip, is that I am a little embarrassed that my webcam that came with my laptop is so low quality, so but then you taught me how to use, the Riverside with your phone, so
Yes.
I might be stepping into that a little bit more now.
It's easier. It makes it easier. Just make sure you clean your camera on your phone so it's not blurry because then it'll
Yeah.
look just like your webcam.
Yeah.
But but it's and you know, and I don't do the forward facing camera. I do the back
Yeah.
camera. And then, but you can see yourself on your laptop in the Riverside,
Mhm.
on the Riverside webpage. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
That first time is rough because I don't like the sound of my own voice. I
Mhm.
don't like looking at myself on as I'm recording, but you just kind of have to put your big girl panties on and get over
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's definitely something that you have to get used to. Like, I don't even listen to my podcast. Like, I maybe told you a little too late, but I was like, I don't do any editing. I just like when it's done, I stop recording and then I full send, just send it, and then I
And
never
listen,
listen to it again.
and I told you, look, me too. Like I only edit a little bit, and that's only if I kind of catch myself while I'm recording and I'm like, oh no, let me go edit that part out because I can go off the deep end on certain things. But mostly I don't. I'm not an editor either. Maybe we need to outsource that,
Yeah,
and
maybe
then we don't have
so.
to worry about it.
Maybe so. But the reason why I like not editing is because it's a girl talk podcast. So, like, I feel
Yes.
like at girl talk, anything goes and anything comes
Hmm.
up and you just like roll with it. And
That's
that's like
it.
how it shows like genuine connection.
Yes, because it's just you talking to your girlfriends, gossiping about how everyone gets on your nerves, and you
Yes,
know
you get it.
all that.
Um, so I've only listened to a few, like 3 of your episodes,
Hmm.
but they're all by yourself. How do you normally have guests or no?
I do. I've had I don't know how many episodes I have with guests. Maybe 5
Okay.
episodes with guests. Again, it's therapeutic for me. This is how I end up recording an episode. Someone will piss me off. And I'm like, you know what? Let me talk about this on the podcast.
Have you ever
And
had anyone, like, text you and be like, "Was that me?"
absolutely, a guy was saying he was like, "Why would you make a?" He was like, he pissed me off really really bad. He was like, "Why would you make a podcast episode about me?" And I said, "Why are you listening to my podcast? It's for girls.
That's awesome.
Like, why are you listening? You're a fan, sir." But yeah, it's so typically it's just me. I do want to branch out to having more guests. I will say so. I have a studio in my house, a little small
Wow.
studio, and then I have another studio but it doesn't have any equipment or anything, and it's just a blank area with sticky notes all on the wall with like positive quotes.
Mhm.
That's it. But my plan is to use that bigger studio to have like a good setup where I have like a couch or a little love
Oh,
seat, and
yeah.
me and the guests sit and chit chat and things like that. So eventually, I plan to branch out to have more guests, but I like when it's just me sitting in my little room in the privacy of my own home, just kind of recording. I like the single host aspect of it for sure.
Mhm. Well, that I use the extra room in my house.
Hmm.
So it's very similar, and that's what is, like, comforting about it because you might
Yes.
have thousands of downloads, but, like, you are just talking into a microphone, like, in your space, in your house, and
And
that
people don't understand that. Like, it's just, I'm just talking. Like, that's it.
Mhm. Yep, and, so it's more, um, like, people are like, "Oh, you should be good at public speaking," and I'm like, "I don't know if I'm good at public speaking because my thing that I talk into is just a mic in my room," you know?
And not only that, it's like, I'm talking to myself, essentially. Like,
Yeah, especially in your case.
yeah, it's like talking into which I do public speaking. I've hosted several big events. I have several big events coming up that I'll be hosting, and I am scared shitless. Like I am terrified to speak in front of people. Even at the event over the weekend, I was so nervous
Mhm. You did
speaking.
great.
I was nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness, these people are gonna be like, this girl is so country. And because, and what am I gonna say? And what if it's a tough crowd and no one cares about what I have to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think everybody in that situation getting up in front of people, it would feel like, oh, what if
Yes.
this happens? But you did great. I wouldn't have
Thank you.
noticed that at all.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The thing I notice is that you have such a wide breadth of wisdom. Like you've it sounded like you've been like clawing at life your whole life and you're now just getting to a point where you feel like you've got things going on.
Listen, I still don't know what I'm doing with my
Me
I
either.
have I have been around the world of life several times. It started very early in life, so now I think all of my different encounters and hills and mountains that I had to kind of fight my way over, I think it all kind of ties into my podcast,
Mhm.
because those are the things that I discuss. So I try to look at the positive in everything. So
Mhm.
I'll say, okay, yes, that happened to me. Yes, I went through that, but I talk about that on my podcast, and that is helping someone else who may very well be going through the same thing and don't know if or how they're going to come out of it. So that's kind of how I look at it. Glass half full, not half empty.
One other nugget of wisdom that you told me is that like everyone is a lot more similar to you than you might think.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like we have so much more in common than we think. Whenever I listened to your episode, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce with my friends gossiping about
But
everything and
yeah,
nothing.
everything and nothing, exactly. Yeah. A lot of the feedback that I get sometimes is like, "What is your podcast for?" And it's usually I'll be out networking at other podcaster events and stuff, and they'll be like, "Well, why do you do that?" And I said, "Well, I mean, if you don't get it, like, right in the first minute, you're probably not gonna get it. It's probably not for you."
Absolutely. The people who get it. And the people who don't. And that's okay because your podcast is for me, let me tell you, because I'm a fan. But your podcast may not be for someone else, and that's okay. There are so many podcasts out here, like it's crazy. So two podcasts can be discussing the exact same thing, and an audience can hate the way one podcast presents it and loves the way another. And they're saying the exact same thing, just in a different way. So it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there are a lot of podcasts out there that are I feel like they're a lot more masculine. Like, I feel like
Oh
there's
goodness,
like
yes.
like, I don't know the actual statistics on this, but if I was gonna guess, I would say probably, like, 75% of the podcasts out there are masculine and 25% are
Yes.
feminine.
And those men are a part of the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Like
Mhm.
they are they are not nice when it comes to the things that they say and discuss about women, and it's strange. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And well, I mean, even just like there's like a lot of like business, finance, bro kind
Mhm.
of people or um like foot sports podcasts, stuff like that.
Yes.
And so I think that Girl Talk podcast is definitely there's a needed space for it.
Yes, yes. Because what if we just want to sit and talk about how we hate this particular shampoo, or
Mhm.
just girl stuff, like I'm just a girl. I just want to be a girl.
Well, what's your favorite kind of shampoo then?
So I am a Paul Mitchell girl.
Hmm.
However, I recently got a influencer deal with a girl, a young lady. I'm not gonna call her a girl, a young lady. I've been actually knowing her since she was maybe 10 or 11, and she's
Wow.
grown now. But anyway, she has started her own natural hair care line, and she's actually been rather successful. And so she asked me to do an influencer deal. So I am going to start using her products, but I'm typically a Paul Mitchell girl.
Nice. Well, what kind of products does she have? Like, what's her brand?
It's naturally me, and she does traditional shampoo, conditioners, leave-ins, like curling, styling, mousses, and gels, things like that.
Sweet.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
favorite kind of shampoo is they're like they come in this square bottles and it's like it says Monday on it.
I've seen that. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I
But
tried dry shampoo before. It was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
I hate
One
dry
of the
shampoo
worst.
too. I never get it to work right.
I don't think it's for me. This is also like I'm gonna do a random like rabbit hole. I went tanning one time, and that also wasn't for me. But I don't like to. I don't like to feel left out. So, my friends, I call them. I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're going tanning." I was like, "Why would y'all not invite me?" And they were like, "Why would we invite you?" Like, and they weren't saying like, "Why would we invite you?" Being mean, as in like, "Girl, look at yourself." And I was like, "No, I want to go." I went and it did nothing for me. So that just,
Ah,
I don't know where that came from. I just thought I'd share that.
that's funny. I'm here for it. I have gone tanning very limited times in my life because I tan from the sun regularly, like just
Mhm.
fine. But my sister lives in Hawaii, and
Oh.
from time to time I'll go visit her. But I usually go visit her in the winter when I
Hmm.
do not have a tan. And if I go visit her in the winter and go to the beach and I don't have a tan, I'm for sure gonna get burnt.
I was gonna
So
say, do you burn?
not badly. I only
Hmm.
burn a little bit, like because I have, my skin I have good skin. Um,
Hmm. Okay.
like, I don't break out that often, and I
Hmm.
don't burn that often, and if I do burn, it goes away in, like, 2 days, so, I may get skin cancer, but I also used to live
Well,
in Hawaii.
that escalated quickly.
Well, no, I may get skin cancer because I used to live in Hawaii, and I never wore sunscreen the whole time I lived in Hawaii, so I
So that was gonna
probably
be
for
my next
sure.
question.
Yes.
I
Eh.
am a avid user of sunscreen. I am
Mhm.
the black lady lathering my children with sunscreen at the beach and at the pool. And people are like, "Why do you put sunscreen on?" And I'm like, skin cancer. Like,
Yeah.
I
It
don't want it.
I don't want it. I was like 18 when I lived in Hawaii, and so I was just like it's still of that mindset of like, "Oh, you're gonna be living forever and you're never gonna die or whatever." And then I never wore sunscreen, and then maybe like I lived there for 2 years, and like 6 months before I moved, I watched a video on skin cancer and how easy you can get it, and then I was like, "Well, I've already done it."
Oh no, too late,
So
too
it's too
late.
late now. But I got really scared for like 2 weeks that I was gonna get skin cancer, and then I was like, "Well, there's nothing you can do about it. Let's just move
It's
on.
happened.
It's
It's
already on."
happened.
Yeah,
It's happened.
exactly. So, yes, uh, my friend Kenzie, who's an esthetician, which, you probably have listened to an episode with her 'cause I think you listen to Raw Leaks, and
Raw
that's my
leaks.
yeah, that's my friend Kenzie. That's a good episode to start with, for sure. But she is an esthetician, and so she gives people she does skincare for a living, and, so if she's listening right now, she's gonna text me and yell at me for not wearing sunscreen.
Well, Kenzie, I am an avid skincare girly, so I make sure that I take care of my skin and I wear my sunscreen. You need to talk to your best friend because she's not doing what she needs to do.
I know, I'm in trouble. Man, everybody calling me out.
Yeah, you need to do better. You have to protect your skin. You need to protect your skin.
Yeah, I know. I'm embarrassed now.
So, how was your day today? Am I turning this interview around? How was your
Yeah,
day?
no, that's fine. My day was good. I went to work
Boo,
and
tomato, tomato.
boo, boo. It was at like my busy season just ended, so I'm like in the place where I'm like shifting from like running a sprint every single day to running a marathon for the like to work on the long-term projects instead of like
Mhm,
putting out fires all day every day. Um, so, that it's like a definitely a different kind of shift to, like,
mhm.
go into the work and, like, be like, "Okay, now I have to work on this thing that I might not see a finish until" months from now,
Oh wow.
instead of like
That's different.
I do this thing and I see the solution by today or tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that's been different. But then I also had a Zoom call with Ty from Arkansas Podcast Collaborative,
Okay.
and because we are planning the Up North podcast
Yes, I'll
conference.
be there.
Yay! I'm so excited that you're
Yes.
coming.
I went
Are you
last year.
speaking? You went,
I haven't I was there last year.
and we didn't meet then.
We didn't.
Oh,
We didn't. But
I'm.
I don't know if I'm speaking. He did hasn't asked me to speak, but I know Northwest Arkansas was like the place when it
Hmm.
comes to podcasting. So, but I will be there. I love going because my daughter lives in Northwest Arkansas, and
Hmm.
so that is like my time to like crash at her place. And I'm a horrible mom when it comes to that. Like I'll open her refrigerator, stand there with the door open. I leave all the lights on. Um, I like take the longest showers. I use all of her expensive body washes and
Yes,
soaps because I
it's
feel
payback,
like
right?
it's payback. Yes, it's payback. So, but I definitely will be there. Are you coming to the Halloween event?
I haven't decided if I'm going yet.
Listen, so you need to. I'll be there. I'm opening host, and I am going to
Hmm.
be Elvira.
Elvira, that sounds
I've already
exciting.
ordered my costume.
I'm so excited. I know that it's a live Halloween recording, but I don't know any like much more than that.
I think you should come.
Okay. Well, I will
I think
see
you
what I
should
can do.
consider it.
I will consider it for sure.
I met with Elaine and Cody this morning. So you met with Ty, and I met with
Ah.
Elaine and Cody because I wanted to be a professional podcaster, you know?
Mhm. Yes.
Um, and I know nothing about like SEO and all of
Mhm.
that keyword and all that good stuff. So,
They are a really good resource for that.
yes, they taught me so much today, this morning, and I have a lot of work to do, but I think it's going to be worth it for sure.
Yeah, their podcast channel looks like a professional production. It looks
It's
so good. Like
legit.
I'm so jealous. I need to
Yes.
be on their level.
It's legit. And I love their podcast too, but I'm one of those people that love things that like bump in the night
Mhm.
and conspiracy theory type weirdo. That's me.
What's your favorite conspiracy theory? Because you just opened a whole door. I'm so excited.
I think that what if we're still in kindergarten and we're dreaming?
Ah, okay. I'm
Like,
here
could
for
you,
it.
what if?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be horrible? Why is no one pinching us, waking us up?
yeah. That it could be horrible or it could be really um like beneficial if we wake up and remember.
Or what if we're like in a virtual reality?
Yeah, like the
Like, if
Matrix.
we are, yeah, what if that's what we're doing?
I
It's,
do think that
it's trash.
I do think that in some ways we kind of are headed in that direction with like social media. Like there is already somewhat of a virtual real or
Yes.
podcasting. Like
Hmm.
people are making virtual friendships with us that we don't even know about.
We don't even know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh no, we probably have at least five best friends that we have no idea they're our best friends.
Mhm. Exactly. My favorite conspiracy theory is like I don't believe that the general public has control over like anything. So like th- everything is just like a distraction from everyday life. So we can be like
Absolutely.
uh controlled by the masses. So
Yes.
like
Hmm.
the Super Bowl is already planned out. The like all of the things are already like in place and it's all just like for
Yes.
our entertainment value.
Essentially, yes. We're
Or
like little Sims characters.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know who's in charge, but I do think that, like, the general population is being controlled by the masses.
Hmm. I don't disagree at all.
Mhm,
Oh, that's a good one. What's
mhm.
another one?
Um, I I have so many. But, like, all of a sudden, I can't remember any of them. Uh, what's another one of yours?
I don't know. I was going the same route with you.
Mhm. Well, I also
I would like for an alien to abduct me
you would
because
like
I
for
think that's a thing. Yes.
okay, what if it's painful, though?
I don't think it'll be painful. I think that they are making it seem like it's going to be painful because it's probably a party. It's probably the most
Ah,
fun you'll ever
so
have.
maybe it's the aliens controlling everything.
Hmm.
I have another conspiracy theory. That okay, so my previous job I worked as a midwife's apprentice. So I was about to open my own midwifery practice. And so this
Hmm.
one is kind of like feminist or whatever, but I think that the medical system has like inserted itself into women like having babies for money, and that is like
Ooh,
they
that's a
like
good one.
mhm. So they have you ever worked at a restaurant before?
I have, unfortunately.
So you know how like there's the whole like concept of however quickly you can get people out of the restaurant, the
Hmm.
faster you can
Hmm.
make more money.
Hmm.
I think it's the same way for birth, and so I think that they're gonna move up the
Ooh,
birth the due date sooner and sooner so that they can take more clients.
I'm invested in this.
Mhm. Because, like, maybe a few years ago, it was like, "Oh, we're gonna wait until 38 weeks, and then that's when we'll induce you." And sooner and sooner, I keep hearing, like, 37 weeks and, like, all of these like, it just keeps moving up, and then before we know it, we're gonna be, like, inducing people, like, way too early.
I agree. I agree 100%. And
Mhm.
that's scary. Like, does that not terrify you?
It's so scary, and the reason why I think that they're doing it is because I think that women are taught to be scared of their power, and, one of the ways that you can connect with your power and I've never had a baby before, but I've seen it with my
It's
clients before,
childbirth.
it's
Hmm.
childbirth. You, like, you go to that place and you, like, come out another person almost because, like, you know you're strong and you know you did that hard thing.
Okay, listen. So I'm going to give you a stamp of approval on that as someone who birthed three crumb snatchers. Okay. So I normally call them crotch pets, but I don't know if that's okay on here.
That's totally allowed.
But anyway, so of course, which you know this, but your audience doesn't know this. So I had my daughter when I was 15. So I just knew like I was gonna punish myself because the girl, why are you 15 years old having a child? Like
Mhm,
what is going on? So my water broke and I knew my water had broken, right?
mhm.
And so I was sitting on my couch. I was sitting on the couch. I was living with my parents. It was like probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and my water broke. And I told my dad, I was like, Dad, like my water just broke. And he was like, No, it didn't. Like you probably peed on yourself. And he said that because when you're pregnant, that things like that happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I get up, take a shower, get me something to eat, and I'm like in full blown labor. Okay,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
like but I'm 15. So it was almost, I can vividly remember this. It's almost like it's like one of those out of body experiences, like where you can see yourself going through this. And
Mhm.
so I'm finally like, Daddy, no, like I'm about to have this baby in the living room. Like, you got to do something. So my mom comes home from work because she was working overnight, and we're driving to the hospital. So we live like 15 minutes from the hospital. He's driving ridiculously slow,
Of
but we
course.
get to the hospital, and in my mind, I am saying I have to teach myself a lesson. So I refused an epidural
Wow.
until the very last minute.
Mhm.
But whenever I finally had her, I as soon as they like pulled her out, I felt like I was a totally different person. I felt like there's nothing in this world that I cannot accomplish.
Mhm. Exactly.
Like that you can't tell me if I can carry around in a 15-year-old body, if
Mhm.
I can grow a baby, give birth to this thing, go through all of that pain. Like there's nothing I can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely nothing. So I 100% agree with you on that.
It like it helps you tap into the power. And if every I think if everyone was able to have that experience, um like there'd be nothing that could stop women.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that the whoever's controlling, as you said, I think they know that. And
Mhm.
so that's why they are. So, and here's my conspiracy theory. Like, if women ruled this country, things would be a lot different. But
Mhm.
anyway, and so I think that they know that. And so that's why there's such like a big, no one wants us doing anything when it comes to like our jobs or making any major decisions because they know that there's a different type of power in women, and
Yeah.
that's why we're kind of suppressed. So I agree with you.
Totally. We're on the same page.
Yes,
Um
we said a lot without saying a lot.
exactly. I think it's important that like cuz every woman has gone through a lot of different things in their life, whether it's birth
Absolutely.
or something like that. But I think a lot of time women have their power taken from them, and it's important that they find something that they're good at, that like, or that speaks to that part of like you can do something powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Empowerment.
yeah, exactly, and it seems like you found a portion of that, like, through podcasting, because podcasts are typically, like, really empowering, like, "Go out and do that thing," or
Mm-hmm.
"Stop doing that thing."
Don't stop. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And I think that's probably why, like, this hobby, or it's like for me, it's a hobby, but it's also like a
Same.
cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want, um like, I don't care that much about analytics for the podcast. I don't care that much about SEO or any of that. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
that I care about the most is like I want to be able to know that I like help somebody out of a bad spot. Like I want to end
For sure.
loneliness for at least
Yeah.
one person. And so with that kind of a goal, I feel like
You're going to be so
I'm
successful.
going to be so
Like you're already
successful.
successful, but your mindset isn't the numbers
Mhm.
versus, some people are, it's numbers, it's a numbers game. And I always tell people, like, there is a lot of money in podcasting, but boy, it takes a while to get to that.
Mhm.
So if you are jumping into podcasting strictly because you want to make some money, you are in the
Yeah,
wrong.
you're not gonna get there. Like, are you bringing your audience with you?
Like,
Do you have
you're
an
in the wrong.
OnlyFans or something and
Yes,
you're gonna
like
read stories? I don't
you're doing something because I have a Patreon and
Mhm.
I still like it. It's definitely more going out than coming in. We'll say
Yeah.
that for sure.
Mhm.
But like yourself, my purpose is my goal. I know when we were at the conference, someone said like, "What is your definition of success?"
Mhm.
And the what you just explained is essentially kind of my definition of success. Like that's how I know I'm successful because when someone messages me and they say, "Oh my goodness, I really needed to hear the episode," oh my podcast is successful.
Mhm. Yes, yes. It's successful and it's like such a cool tool to be able to like touch somebody's life in that way, whether or not
Mm-hmm.
you know it. And I think that that is like one of the reasons why I keep coming back to it is like I'm not the kind of person who like has hobbies that they consistently do for their whole lives. Like I was never a journaler. I don't play an instrument. Like I don't have any of those things. But podcasting, like I have not missed an episode since March of 2023.
Okay, listen. So I have to ask you, and
Yes.
I think this is my own, and I'm one to own up to my own, like, girl, get your shit together. But how do you remain so consistent? And I always preach to people, like, in podcasting, you have to be consistent, you have to be consistent. But I am like the pot calling the kettle black because I will go, I have gone months without doing an episode, but it's because I am doing other things that are related to the podcast. So, like,
Mhm.
I do hosting events, but the podcast is my baby and it's kind of my funnel. So, how do you, despite lifing,
Yeah.
how do you remain consistent with, okay, I have to make sure I record my episode because I have to do this? How do you do that?
Well, I had to find a balance. Originally, it was easy. Like when I first started and I had a co-host, we would just be like, "What day are you free this week?"
Mm-hmm.
And that day we would set aside time to do it. And then see when my co-host, she had some things come up in her life and she needed to take a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, "Okay, then I will just filter in a new guest every week." Well, like that was too much. I was like feeling to my wits end, like I don't know how am I gonna find a new person. Who am I gonna find? What's gonna like it was like too much to do. So I did that for several episodes. And then I was like, "Okay, I gotta do something else. Like I this is too much taking over my life." So I found four consistent guests that they're I can just record with them once a month. And so they spend all month like getting funny stories and doing all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then I filter in like new people or random people that I meet that I really want to
Hey,
interview.
now you have five because you can include me
Hey, hey,
anytime.
hey. Yeah, I love that.
I mean,
Absolutely.
anytime.
Yeah, for sure. I
That's
definitely will.
I like that. I guess I have to. And the key word that you said was balance.
Hmm.
So I think that's what I need to do. Is just kind of find that balance for myself. I think even with my topics, at times I'm like, okay, really want to talk about that. Like I've already kind of somewhat hit on that once before. I think a lot of times I need to get out of my own head. I will say that. A lot of times I
Hmm.
just get so lost in my own head that it everything just kind of goes by the wayside.
Well, you're
So
also all by yourself. I have the
true.
benefit of having a co-host that like I don't have to come up with the content all by myself. Like
Mhm.
somebody else is helping me being like, "Dude, my kid did this funny thing." Or whatever it is that they or like, "I've been saving this up to talk to you about it. I'm so excited. I was watching Love is Blind," or like whatever it was.
Mhm. Oh,
And the other thing that like keeps me like the key thing that keeps me going and keeps everything in line is I just have a Google Doc that I go and I put like week 5, season 3, episode 26, and then I put like
okay.
title notes who I'm recording with.
Mhm.
And then once a month I just go fill in everybody's name on their week. And
Mhm.
then that weekend I'll look at it and be like, "Okay, Kenzie's going to record this week." And then I'll just text Kenzie and say, "When are you free this week to record?" And then Kenzie just tells me what her schedule is and I do it. And we usually do it in the evenings.
Like that. I'm gonna incorporate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I it's a system that works, and then after I write my show notes too, I copy and paste it in there so I can remember what we talked about last week.
Now that's smart.
Mhm. And it
Okay.
saved my booty because I have technical issues with Riverside all the time, and so whenever I'm, like, uploading, sometimes it'll, like, freeze out on me, and then I will
Mhm.
have already had my show notes ready, and I just go copy and paste them.
Okay. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I just have to be, I'm just going to have to be more consistent. Like I said, I love my podcast. My podcast is my baby. It kind of opened the door for honestly, everything else that I'm doing. My podcast opened the door for it. And so I need to not neglect it as much as I do. But I'm appreciative. My listeners, I mean, even if I go 2 months without recording, like they're still listening. People are still listening. And so I'm extremely appreciative and I need to do better with my listeners because they expect to hear, you know,
Yeah,
what,
well,
what I say.
it sounds like you have loyal listeners, and that's what's most important,
hmm
for sure.
Yeah, so I have to be a consistent host if I have loyal listeners.
Well, you also have real human babies that you have to take care of too, so that makes sense.
Yeah, well, tomato, 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 tomato. So what's on your agenda for the week?
For this week,
outside of being working and adulting?
mhm. So I'm gonna follow up some more podcast conference planning stuff.
Okay.
So it's gonna be hosted at Fayetteville Public Library. So I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
meet with the person that I'm working with Fayetteville Public Library,
Okay.
uh, to like kind of be like, this is what the room is gonna what I want the room to look like, or what are our food
Mm-hmm.
options, and are we allowed to have caterers, or do we have to use your services?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I'm gonna nail out some of those
Mm-hmm.
details for
Okay.
the conference in November.
Okay. I'm excited about that. I love Central Arkansas. I'm a Central Arkansas girly. There was just something different about Northwest Arkansas last year.
Mhm.
I don't know. The environment was different. Um, I really like it. I really liked it. So I'm excited about this year. I'm super excited.
I really wanted to, um, like, uh, find a community through podcasting when I went
Mm-hmm.
to that event, and I feel like it was just, like, so easy. Like, one of the people that I met there, she's been a regular on my show since I started season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I would have never met her if it wasn't for that podcasting conference up here, and I feel like it was just, like, so almost magical up here, and I can't believe I didn't meet you. That's crazy.
And you know what? If you look at the picture, like the picture that is on the Arcast page
Mhm.
for, the picture was taken in Northwest. I'm sitting right in the front.
I'll have to look. I They always put the, like, logo over my face where I was sitting, so I don't ever look at it really closely, but I probably should more.
Yes, I had it, but yes, I was. I cannot believe we didn't meet, but that's okay because we know each other now, and that's all that matters.
Yes, and I was excited to go down to Little Rock and see what Little Rock was like, and it was very different, but also good. Like, there are
Yeah.
some good people in the community there.
For sure, for sure. And I, like yourself, I was looking for support in the podcast community. I'm new to this. I had no idea what I was doing when I started my podcast. I'm self-taught. So did want to network and build a community with people who were also podcasters who we could learn from each other, kind of collaborate. And
Mhm.
so it did all of that and much more. So I'm grateful for it.
Well, if you, because how often do you come up to visit your daughter?
So she just moved into a new apartment. So I haven't been up in about 3 months.
Okay.
But I need to, my schedule is so crazy. So this weekend coming up, I'll be in Nashville at an event. And then the weekend after, I'll be in Houston for an event. But
Wow,
I
you're
think that
fancy.
I'm telling you, like, honestly, I mean, I, starting my podcast kind of helped me step into my purpose. I'll say that for sure. But I think the first weekend of October, my birthday is October 9th. But I think that first weekend of October, I think I'm going to come that way to hang out with my kiddo
Sweet.
and get on her nerves and see what else I can do.
Well, if you're ever up here, because I wanted to do the same thing and like meet with other podcasters and like learn from them and like be
Hmm.
able to give like what I've learned to others. And so what I did is I started a podcast networking group that meets every fourth Thursday.
Really?
So if you ever come up on a fourth Thursday, you can come to Pod Circle.
That is so neat. So how is that going? Is it going good?
It's going really, really well. I've met some really amazing people through that.
I wonder
And
if that's something I can do here.
yeah, I think they did one down there because we did a like a mirror kind of a thing where I brought my laptop and everybody um like was there and we thought we would meet
Oh
with
wait,
each other.
they do here. Okay, they do because I've been to two. Well, I actually went to one. The second one, I just kind of popped in because I had an event that I had to host. No, it wasn't a host. I have a gig at the radio station here because I'm a
Ah,
podcaster. Yeah, that's
nice.
crazy. Yeah, and so it was my first day at the radio station. But yeah, okay. So it's similar to the meetup.
Yeah. Well, we all just meet and you get to swap ideas or meet new people and
Hmm.
it's really cool. So I am excited about that. And this month We typically have it at the Fayetteville Public Library, but this month the Fayetteville Public Library is going to be under like maintenance. So we're meeting at a place called Cash Create. Well, the Medium, which is sponsored by Cash Create.
Oh, okay. Okay. Really like it in Northwest Arkansas. If I could, I work remotely, so I technically could move there, but my boys go to school in Central Arkansas, and
Ah,
I doubt they would want to uproot. But I really like Northwest
you'll just
Arkansas.
have to find like whatever thing they're into. I feel like there's a charter school for whatever thing you're into up here.
And see, they're into everything. Like they play baseball, they both play baseball, they both play football, they both play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And they're at that age
Don't some
where
of those
like
overlap?
they're yes. So imagine my life. Like someday there's never a break. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
if there's football season and then now there's basketball season and but then there's fall baseball and then
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot.
That is a lot of practices. Can some of them at least drive?
No, that's a
Oh
crazy thing. Like,
no.
and with my daughter being all the way in Fayetteville, she used to be my little chauffeur, like when she
Hmm.
was home. But she's been gone. She's in her senior year of college. So
I'm
it's,
telling you, the $1 million
yeah.
idea is if you figure out the insurance or whatever you need for Uber for kids.
Listen, yes, it is. It is. But my boys will be trying to put the dogs in the Uber with them. Like they will ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, that it does have its drawbacks, but if somebody could figure out the drawbacks,
Yes,
that
it
would
would
be
be
the
beneficial for
moneymaker.
sure. For sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good place to pause. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to talk about?
Uh, no, not that I can think of. I've had an amazing time. This has been fun.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you came on today.
Of course. I wasn't going to say no.
Is there uh where can people find you? And if you don't want people to find you, what do you want people to find?
Well, that's one of the drawbacks. So I can be found on Facebook because I have a professional page on Facebook. So it's one of those things you're gonna find. So I'm sorry. On Facebook, my name is Latanya Holmes. My podcast is connected to my personal page, so I just always tell people just go to my personal Facebook. My podcast is on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your podcast. It is Nicole Please, and my website is allthingslatanya.com. That's it.
Okay, I will go find all of those links and I will put them in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on today. Everyone, like, share, review, do all the things.
Please make sure you do
Yes.
follow.
Um, follow, like, share, do all the things. Send me a message on sleepoverpod.com. And other than that, I hope you have a lovely day, lovely week, and that this episode helped you be less lonely today.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Love you. Bye.
Yay!